Welcome to the Matt Attack Predictions Pay-Per-View Podcast. I'm Matt Willis, and this is the Matt Attack. Right, this is episode 2 of the Matt Attack. Thank you again to last month, I should say, to Graham Bagshaw for joining me. This week, I'm joined by someone making their debut in the podcast world. A good friend of mine, Jimmy Judgement. Welcome to the Matt Attack.
Hi, thank you for having me, Matt, and hi everybody. This is my debut, so be nice to me, please.
Don't worry, I'm sure you'll do fine. And who knows, maybe I'll have you back if you're good enough.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I've known Jimmy a while. He's he's got a lot of passion for wrestling, so this should hopefully be fairly good. Okay. We're obviously discussing the event which is happening in 2 days from now at the in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, the greatest Royal Rumble. It's got 10. I've got 10 matches I know of on the card. But before we start discussing the predictions we both have, me and Jimmy are both going to have to address the elephant in the room. And unlike what someone said on Twitter, we're not talking about Nia Jax. And I think it was maybe you actually who said that, actually, Jimmy. So we'll gloss over that one. The controversy around it. Jimmy, do you want to...
I don't have Twitter.
So it wasn't you. It wasn't you, but it's even better than that. I can't blame you for this. Excellent.
No, I wouldn't say something like that.
Excellent. I can't blame you for that. Good. Which leads quite nicely onto the controversy, actually, about the whole event being staged in Saudi Arabia. Do you want to give us a little bit of background to this for those who are living under a rock at this point?
Yeah, so we've just come off WrestleMania, which has obviously been amazing, and WWE have decided to put on this event in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, which sounds fantastic, the greatest Royal Rumble of all time, which on paper sounds amazing. As it's kind of built up to it, can I understand there are going to be no women's matches on the card, and Renee Young isn't going to be hosting the kickoff show either, which basically means there are going to be no female talent involved in the show. So I was doing a bit of internet reading, as you do, and it's so I was kind of looking at the culture. We have to respect their culture, of course, but it's the idea that women still aren't allowed to beautify themselves with makeup, and so obviously that hinders pretty much every woman in WWE and man, really. And so unfortunately, for that reason, for their cultural reasons, the women won't be competing, which I think is a bit of a shame, considering we're in the middle of a fantastic women's evolution in
Absolutely.
WWE and in wrestling and like in the world, full stop. And I understand that the business deal for the WWE in Saudi Arabia and in the Middle East is phenomenal, and they've signed a massive 10-year deal, which is what's kind of drawn them over there. But I just feel like it's selling the women a little bit short by saying, we'll come over to you and we'll host this greatest Royal Rumble match, in inverted commas, I'd put it, but we'll have no female talent, whether it be wrestlers or backstage crew involved. So I just think it's a little bit of a shame.
It is. I find it a massive shame, especially seeing as the two of the most best matches on the card at WrestleMania was Charlotte Asuka. I thought was an amazing match. But also Ronda Rousey, she really blew everyone away with how good she actually was in that mixed tag match, and you'd like to think that having her at that event would have been huge. Yeah. I don't get it, and also not just Asuka and Charlotte, but across the entire women's division. I mean, we're so blessed with talent now. I mean, I grew up in the Attitude Era, and I saw Chyna and Lita and Trish Stratus and Ivory and Molly Holly, and I was blessed with them. And then I lived through the era of Kelly and Candice Michelle, and I'm like, I mean, nothing to say they were beautiful women, but they were divas. They weren't women superstars as they are now known, and rightly so. I mean, the women's division has really come on in leaps and bounds, and much like what you say, really pains me to see the women's division just not being able to be recognised. I mean, I'm really hoping that it's going to actually, in a few years' time, perhaps, that's what Triple H has said in the partly in the statement he put out, I believe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Should they be there at all? I don't think they should be there out of principle at the moment. But I, you know, we could rant about this all day. I think, but I don't think now's the time or the place for us to be doing that. Mainly because I haven't had my coffee yet. Right. I think
the bottom line is, it's a shame, but hopefully things will change in the future.
I think
in Saudi Arabia and across the world, so that's all we can kind of hope for.
I can't agree with you more on that one, Double J. Can't agree more than that. Right. So let's move on then to the actual card itself. Now, I believe there is a pre-show for it, but I don't know if they're going to put one of these matches on the pre-show. I imagine they probably will. As to what it will be, I have not a clue, although I probably expect it to be the Cruiserweight title. So we're going to start with the Cruiserweight title match.
Okay.
And the Cruiserweight title is obviously Cedric Alexander, who won the championship at WrestleMania, defending against Kalisto. Who do you have, Jay?
Cedric Alexander, all the way. I don't think there's any chance that they would take the title off him this soon, and especially not to Kalisto. If it was Buddy Murphy, then I would have maybe expected him to take the title. But they've had this weird storyline going on that Buddy Murphy hasn't made weight and stuff like this. But he's been phenomenal since he debuted on 205 Live, so I don't really know what's going on there. But I just don't see Kalisto taking the title, especially since rumour has it they're going to try and introduce and push Cruiserweight Tag Team titles, which the Lucha House Party are going to be at the forefront of. I just think that Cedric Alexander will retain for that reason.
I also think Cedric Alexander will retain. I don't think they will give it to Kalisto either. Mainly because I think Kalisto, although I think he's a great fit for 205 Live and the Cruiserweight division, I just think that he's a former US champion, and he's actually mid-carded pretty decently. I think if WWE wanted to push a Cruiserweight to like the upper echelons, I mean, I know Rey Mysterio is going to be in Jeddah. He's in the actual Rumble match itself.
Yeah.
But I can't help thinking that they could be doing more with Kalisto. But as you say, if they're bringing in the Cruiserweight tag team titles, which they're rumoured to be doing, then that's definitely something where they could go with it. I mean, they could reunite him and Sin Cara together to bring that Lucha Dragons. I mean, I actually quite like Lucha Dragons, but so you're going for Cedric Alexander as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't see him losing the title.
It is a bit early for him to lose the title, I think that one is, isn't it? Right, okay. Main card, from what I gather, will be... Okay, let's start from top to bottom. Okay, Jeff Hardy defending his newly won US title against Jinder Mahal, invoking his rematch clause. Here you go.
Again, I'm probably going to say this a lot tonight. I don't see him losing his title. So, the Superstar Shake-Up and WrestleMania, and now this event, has backed WWE into a corner in a creative sense with a lot of the matches. So they've just sent Jinder Mahal to Raw, and the Intercontinental Championship is on Raw, but they've sent the US Championship back to SmackDown. So is there a chance that Jinder could win it back? I don't think so.
Well, it's possible.
My money is on Matt. If we're talking about creatively, then I think my money's on Jeff Hardy.
I agree with you about Jeff Hardy retaining, because I've got exactly the same thing, but it's just come to my attention, looking down the order, the next match I want to talk about is the Intercontinental title match. There's two people on SmackDown in that match, of course, so there's no reason that the Intercontinental title couldn't go to SmackDown in retaliation for the US title coming back to Raw. So that's a possibility. We could put a double bluff on us in that one.
Oh, true, yeah.
But
it could happen, but I don't think it will. So, are we talking about the Intercontinental Championship now?
Not yet. We can bridge into that from this one, yeah. But the US title, we both agree with Jeff Hardy retaining the championship.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Or if they make it a triple threat last minute with Shelton Benjamin in it, then Shelton Benjamin could win.
That's a good shout.
Because he beat Randy. So my thought was Randy Orton's got beef with Jinder Mahal, but Jinder Mahal's now on Raw, but Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy have got some kind of beef going on SmackDown Live, like they interrupted each other's entrances. Yeah. Shelton Benjamin had a shot against Jeff Hardy, and then last night won against Randy Orton.
He did, and to be fair, I've always been a big Shelton Benjamin, a former US champion, of course, from his first run in WWE. So he's got the credibility, and certainly he needed breakout moments, and I think that's not a bad shout.
But we might be getting on to like Backlash predictions now, not.
yeah, that's very true. Backlash is only a week after. Backlash is only a week after this. No. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm doing back-to-back Mac attacks as well. So
I think the WWE have forgotten that Backlash is happening. I think someone should remind them. They've got a pay-per-view coming up next week.
This is on the network. I thought it was network exclusive. It's not. It's also on pay-per-view as well. So if you're on Sky, you've got to pay £20 for that. I'm like, I still can't understand why you pay £20 for a pay-per-view when you get on the network for £10, give or take. Right, so we both got Jeff Hardy. We'll move across to the IC title. It's the IC title Fatal 4-Way ladder match, which I am so looking forward to because I love a ladder match. Seth Rollins defending it against The Miz and Samoa Joe and Finn Balor.
Okay, so again, I'm trying not to think too like creatively and politically because that's really boring. But I don't see Joe winning it because he's got unfinished business with Roman Reigns, which I think needs to continue. Obviously, we'll get to Roman Reigns later.
Yes.
I feel bad for Finn Balor because I think he's great, but
my favourite superstar.
I don't see him at any point taking a title of Seth Rollins. It seems like the management sees Seth Rollins as number one and Finn Balor as number two. And yeah, with the superstar shake-up, I just think the titles are going to stay on the brand that they were taken to. So I think the IC title is going to stay on Raw, and I think the US title is going to stay on SmackDown.
Okay, so you're picking Rollins to retain, or are you picking Balor?
Rollins retain.
You're picking with Rollins to retain. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
It's just a weird event because I don't see any of the champions.
It is an odd one. It is an odd one. I'll give you that one. Speaking of odd ones, moving on to the next one, the casket match between the Undertaker and Rusev.
Oh.
This one is just messy because of the build-up for it. I mean, Rusev was in, then he was out, now he's back in again, and they're saying that it was all a work, and like there has been no storyline build for this at all. I don't understand this one.
So the way I understand it, from what I've been reading online and all that stuff, is that it was booked Rusev Undertaker casket match.
Yes.
For whatever reason, that was it. And then Rusev and Lana did an interview for TMZ.
Yes.
TMZ, as we should call it, as we're English, in America. And Rusev made some comments something about, I'm going to end your career and you're old, or something like that.
Yeah.
So Michelle McCool, Undertaker's wife and former Divas champion, then piped in and got offended on his behalf. So then Chris Jericho then appeared as Undertaker's opponent. So then I read the backstory for that, and some people thought that behind the scenes the Undertaker may have been offended by Rusev's comments about being old. So they took him out of the match, put Jericho in, and then when he realised the Undertaker wasn't offended and didn't really care, they put Rusev back in again. And they use Lana on Twitter as the storyline. So the build-up has been ridiculous.
But I expect nothing less from WWE sometimes. I mean, sometimes but this could actually be a sleeper match. I mean, Rusev's a great worker. I mean, But Undertaker's obviously in the twilight of his career. How long the match is going to be, I can't see it being a long one. But at the same time, I'm picking Rusev to win this.
No.
I'm picking Rusev to win this because I'm thinking Taker's come back, and I'm thinking that someone's going to screw Taker. I'd love it to be Cena who screws him, but I can't see that happening.
No, I don't know. I think it might be just another chance to give Taker a convincing win after what John Cena did for him at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that was the job from beyond the grave. I've never seen Cena job to anyone, not since his SmackDown 2002 days. So, I mean, Taker's obviously he's not 100% from what I gather for WrestleMania. He wasn't. But I'm still sure he could have done more than just do his spots.
So I read something online, and I can't remember the source exactly, but somebody said they've got some more dates lined up for Taker this year, like 5 or 6 other wrestling dates lined up.
Do you think this is a good idea? I mean, he had the perfect send-off last year, and now he's come back from the grave. Literally, I'm thinking like, is it now time to? I mean, I've loved Undertaker since the first time I saw him, but I do think it may be time now for him to hang his hat up. I mean, you're a bona fide Hall of Famer. You haven't got to keep going now, Taker. People adore you.
I think management kind of they manage him on a day-to-day or week-to-week or event-to-event basis. So, like last WrestleMania, he wasn't in great shape at all.
No, he wasn't.
So they thought Roman Reigns goes over and he puts his hat in the ring. But then this year, from what we've heard, is that he's in better shape. So then they're like, oh, okay, we can do something with John Cena. So he's not retired after all. So I think that Vince and company will kind of keep milking him when he's well. And apparently this year he is in great shape, which is obviously great to hear. But I think they'll keep, which is why I've heard this rumour that they want him to wrestle 5 or 6 more matches this year. I don't know when there'll be SummerSlam, Survivor Series, whatever.
You'd think it'd be the big 4 sort of event,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'll unfortunately keep milking him. But we'll see.
I like to hope they wouldn't, but yeah. Right, so just for the record, there
I don't think Rusev will win.
So you've got Taker down for that one, then obviously. Then. Okay,
yes.
So that's the first one we actually disagree on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well we'll find out who's right on that one. Speaking of matches that have no build, Triple H versus John Cena.
Oh.
This one, I mean, I like the idea. I want to see the match. Don't get me wrong. Their match at WrestleMania 22 was a great match to watch. Really physical, really in your face. I loved that. But that was WrestleMania 22, wasn't it? So that was 12 years ago now. I mean, yes, they fought since, of course, but I mean, where's the story behind this one? I mean, is it just an exhibition match?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I think this is a classic example of the greatest Royal Rumble event, and that this is like a mega event in Saudi Arabia. And so, yeah, this is an exhibition match. I mean, obviously, it will have massive implications because one of them has to win, and I really don't. This is what I really can't predict. I've got no idea who they'll put over.
See, I'm thinking I put Cena over.
Yeah, I think it would be Cena.
Because Triple H is more than happy to put someone over. And to be fair, Cena did a good job putting Kevin Owens over when he first debuted. He did a great job putting Kevin Owens over, and then buried him. So, go on.
So this is mass speculation, but there's a rumor that next WrestleMania there'll be a match between John Cena and The Undertaker, which will be a retirement match. So
I like
John Cena jobbing to Undertaker this year, but then meeting Triple H in Saudi and beating him convincingly will be this slow build towards this Undertaker John Cena retirement match that may be building. That's mass speculation.
I do like that as a concept, though. I do like the concept. Kevin Dunn, take notes. Right, so are you having? So you're having Cena going over here? Are you?
No, I don't think either of them are going to win. I think there'll be some screwy finish and something's going to happen.
So you think like a double?
Triple H might win via Stephanie McMahon. No, she can't be there because she's a woman.
Yeah, and also she's got a broken arm, hasn't she? Storyline, so.
Oh yeah.
So you to I quite like to see Ronda Rousey jump in at this point, but obviously she'll be there for obvious reasons.
Yeah, but she can't be there yet.
Yeah, so
I'll go for John Cena wins.
You're going for Cena, but it is more a case of.
I've got no reason.
It is more a case of me having a gun to your head on this one. Okay, here's one. We're guaranteed a new champion. Woken Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt challenging The Bar, who are invoking their rematch clause for the vacant Raw Tag Team Championships. If The Bar win, they return to Raw as Raw Tag Champions.
Oh, okay. Again, creatively, are The Bar going to go back to Raw?
I thought it a misstep sending them SmackDown in the first place.
SmackDown needed some tag team energy.
They did need energy for tag team, that's for certain. I can't argue with that one. But they've obviously got the club. They've obviously got the Bludgeon Brothers. They've got the Usos. They've got the New Day. Yes, they've lost Breezango and they've lost Slater and Rhino, of course, last year. But yeah, they've lost quite a few teams. Would losing The Bar weaken SmackDown? I don't know.
That's true. I thought when I was looking at the Superstar Shake-Up, one of the biggest gains was the SmackDown Tag Team division. Because they got rid of so many mid-card acts and gained The Bar. I thought that was fantastic.
They did. I've got to admit, a lot of wrestlers who needed just, as you say, some shake. Literally, just what it's called the shake-up, of course. They definitely did need it. It did seem very stale at times. Chad Gable going from SmackDown to Raw was weird. I didn't think there's going to be much in there. And then he goes and pulls a win against Jinder Mahal on Raw. Yes, it was a bit scrappy and maybe someone would say a cheap win perhaps, but a win. But at the end of the day, I'm enjoying some of the storytelling at the moment. It's fantastic. I'm loving it. But who have you got? Have you got The Bar going over then? Or are you going with Woken, Matt Hardy, and Bray Wyatt?
No, I'm going to go for Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt.
Okay, is it because they're already on Raw, basically?
No, I think The Bar have had their time, and they've had the championships, and I just think the new partnership of Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt is more interesting, and I think they can be.
I'm loving that. I'm absolutely loving it. Bray Wyatt really needed something. They're obviously the lights are still going like crazy. I'm loving the crowd interaction, but Woken Matt Hardy, when he was broken Matt Hardy in TNA, he was just so over. And when he brought that in, obviously, it just as soon as people say, "Oh, Woken's not the same as broken." 2 letters different, but I tell you what, absolute genius. He saved his career with that gimmick in TNA. And he's just launching himself again in WWE with it, and I love that. And there's the way they slowly built it as well. They were perfect, and I do agree with you. I think that dynamic with him and Bray Wyatt it suits the Raw tag titles better, and that eventually they're going to be going up against the Authors of Pain for them titles, because that was the match.
I do feel like Bray Wyatt could have done with more of an ocean of resurrection than a lake of resurrection. I was hoping he would come back as something a little bit more than an apron and Matt Hardy's friend. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Yeah. valid point on that one. I mean, it is basically the same character, just under his spell, pretty much. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, and so I see that. I mean, at some point it will splinter, because that's what WWE has a habit of doing. It's how it's managed, and it will probably come to a head at next year's WrestleMania, because that's how it always seems to do. But it's how it's handled. Um, I'm hopeful that we're right on this one, because I'm hoping that it's gonna be a good one.
Or Bray Wyatt could be the face of Sanity when they come to SmackDown.
Ooh, that's good. I'm looking forward to seeing them in the tag division on SmackDown. It'll be brilliant. That is. I'm loving that. Loving that one. Right. Okay. What have we got next? Let's switch gears. SmackDown tag titles: Bludgeon Brothers versus the Usos.
Bludgeon Brothers, all the way.
Is it because of how over they seem to be now they've actually got their gimmick off the ground, or because
they've been portrayed as being so dominant. I don't think there's any way they're going to lose. And SmackDown last night, like Naomi can come out and grind and twerk, but I don't think that's going to help the Usos win the SmackDown Tag Team Championship.
basically she won't be there, of course. Which amazes me, even though her husband will be there. So I find that one hard.
Exactly.
I find that one hard to believe.
Yeah, so she's not going to be there twerking in Saudi Arabia. So
No.
the Bludgeon Brothers, I think, will retain.
One little. I think Bludgeon Brothers will retain as well. For I do actually think though, at some point Naomi is going to betray the Usos. I was watching the highlights back earlier, and I noticed the backstage chemistry. I mean, obviously family and everything, but I just thought
they're already married.
Yeah, but I thought, I wouldn't be surprised if they did try and turn her heel against them. I wouldn't be surprised at all. It would be unwise, but I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to do it.
Nah, I don't think they would. I think the gimmick of the Bludgeon Brothers is they're not distracted by anything. They don't care. They're just there for destruction. So
True, but remember when they ran down to the ring and dived in front of her husband, they stopped and just left. And when she started doing her twerking last night, they literally stopped and just stared at her. I mean, last night she was twerking, but a week before, it wasn't for that reason. I mean, I'm probably miles off base on that one, but I just thought it's something that I could see. I could definitely see someone doing that in the writing room, having thrown that out as a gimmick idea. But it's probably wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
The fact is, in Jeddah, it's not going to happen.
No, of course not. Not in Jeddah.
So
It won't happen in Jeddah, but down the line it possibly could. Right. Okay, world title time. Let's go with the WWE title match. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
This is a really interesting one.
Because
I don't know really.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So heel Shinsuke has been fantastic.
I love heel Shinsuke, especially no speaking English. I'm thinking.
Yes, that was fantastic. I know speaking English. That was hilarious. Will he? I don't know.
It's something
I think AJ will retain. I don't think that the culmination of the feud has quite happened. I think they'd be wise to let it rumble on, if you pardon the pun, to SummerSlam.
I think that SummerSlam may be a bit far for this rivalry, because the rivalry started at the Rumble, didn't it?
When is SummerSlam? August.
Also, SummerSlam may be a bit far for this one, but I do like the idea of moving on and on and on. But I think for it to rumble on, to take your pun, I think that having AJ drop it to Shinsuke here, and then a rematch at Backlash, I think that will work.
Yeah, I could do. Yeah, I struggle with this event to see any of the titles changing hands. because, as I said before, it's very soon after Mania,
Yeah.
and Backlash is in like a week.
Yeah.
And this event is streaming at 12 o'clock or 12 p.m. or 9 a.m. American time.
Yeah, and 5 p.m. our
So-
time, of course. Yeah.
So in reality, and obviously it's good for us over in England,
Made the change
But
for us, isn't it? Yeah.
in reality, how many people are going to be watching it?
But
Not.
that's the beautiful thing about the network, is that we can watch it when we want to. Obviously, people playing on pay-per-view have got to be there for it. I mean, I remember...
Do you think WWE would go all out, switching titles and stuff in an event which isn't actually being watched live, it's being watched on demand, because it's being streamed on a Friday at 12 p.m. or 9 a.m. when everybody in America is working?
I take that
That's one
point.
of my biggest gripes with the event.
I take your point, and I remind you of the 1992 SummerSlam from Wembley Stadium in London.
Yeah.
I believe it was the British Bulldog was in the main event and won the European Championship, wasn't it? European Championship was Intercontinental. He won a championship in the main event, and that was not shown live in America. It was on tape delay. So
Yeah,
there is history for it. It wasn't shown live in America, no.
But it was in England, not Saudi Arabia.
Agreed, but it's ever since then they've never held an event of that size outside of America and Canada. This is the first one since 1992 on this sort of scale.
Yeah.
So there is precedent for it, but at the same time, I still think you're on the money with this one. So I'm going to side with you and say AJ Styles to retain on this one.
Yeah. That's what I'm going for.
Cool beans. Right, so does that mean then that the inevitable Universal title steel cage match between Lesnar and Reigns probably going to be a bloodbath because of the way Lesnar's able to open him up with his elbows. With some skill, I might point out, some real skill he uses to do that. I'm guessing you're going with Lesnar for this? Or are you going to let the part-timer have a night off? Because Samoa Joe is facing Reigns at Backlash. And Joe keeps talking about if Reigns wins, he'll take the title off him in that match as well. So, Lesnar hasn't got a match for Backlash.
I think that Roman Reigns is going to win the title in Jeddah.
So you think Reigns is going over?
Yep. So from what I've heard, the decision that Brock would retain in New Orleans and WrestleMania was made because of the inevitable crowd reaction, which would have been negative. But there is a feeling that in Jeddah, if Roman Reigns wins a title, then it's going to be positive. I mean, this is feels like fairly naive booking, because he's still going to come back to the West and get booed because he's the champion.
Yeah.
But that's what I've read. The feeling is that he stands more of a chance of being cheered, being champion in Jeddah, which is why it was shocking that he didn't win it in New Orleans, because Vince McMahon knew that the inevitable crowd reaction would be negative.
Yeah. It was also amazing. Oh, it threw me and Graham, obviously, when we did the podcast for the WrestleMania preview. I mean, obviously you listened to it. I mean, we both thought it was the easiest match to call because everyone, as far as we knew, Brock was going to UFC, and he hasn't gone to UFC. It seems that Dana White and Vince McMahon pulled a fast one on us. We didn't see that. None of the fans saw this result, obviously happening at New Orleans.
Yeah.
We all thought it would be Reigns going over, and it was a pleasant surprise. I mean, I remember your reaction. You were absolutely gobsmacked by it because, I tried not to do any spoilers for you, but you didn't stay up for 7 hours to watch like I did, so it's my own fault on that one. Right, so you've got Reigns.
Talking about UFC and the deal. As far as I'm aware, the deal with Lesnar is a pay-by-appearance deal, which means that it's a very unique WWE. I think he's the first one to have it. It means that he gets paid for each appearance in WWE, and that means he is also allowed to appear in UFC as well. And so he's on kind of a split contract. That's the last I heard about his contract. So he's not signed like a full-time, well, he's never full-time, a part-time paid contract with WWE. He's on a pay-by-appearance thing, which will also allow him to fight in UFC. So that's why I think Roman could win the title, because Brock Lesnar can come and go as he pleases.
He is a novelty act. He's the modern day Andre the Giant. Because people went to see Andre the Giant back in the day because he was the big attraction. And that's not a pun. He was... People went to see him. Brock Lesnar, people will pay money to see him. I mean, just before WrestleMania, he had turned up at a house show and fought Kane and beat him in 35 seconds. You don't beat Kane in 35 seconds. That just felt really cheap for me. But yeah, I'm sticking with Lesnar to win this match. I just don't think that the title will change hands here. You think that Reigns will win the title here, and that's ironically the reason I think it won't. I think Lesnar Lesnar will win this match. Reigns will beat Samoa Joe at Backlash and go on to the next pay-per-view to challenge Lesnar back again. And by that time, we'll be bored of it.
Okay. I guess we'll see who's right on Friday.
We will see who's right on Friday, definitely. Right, and that brings us to the 50-man Royal Rumble match. There's only been 25 names announced so far, and the match is less than 48 hours away. Of the wrestlers that you know who are in it, and there'll probably be more classic superstars and people who aren't... People probably calling double duty that night as well. Who do you want to win it, and then who do you think will win it?
Wow.
This is a really hard one to call, I know, but...
Yeah, it's really hard. So last I heard, there'd been no decision as to what the prize for it would actually be.
The only thing I've seen is the big trophy they've got, and it's like... Yeah. It's quite an impressive trophy, to be fair. It's quite an impressive trophy. But...
I'd seen a trophy. I thought it might be like a title opportunity, but it's... I don't know. Oh my god, who do I want? I don't know. Like Daniel Bryan winning it would be amazing, be hilarious. I don't know. I literally can't pick somebody to win it, or who I think will win it. I can't really give a prediction. This is too hard.
I've got to admit, I thought that picking a Battle Royal winner was hard for WrestleMania. This is the hardest prediction I've ever had to do. But when I look at it, when I look at who I've picked, who I think will win it, and who I want to win it, are the same person.
Who is it?
I've picked Braun Strowman.
Okay.
Because I don't know of anybody who is more over as a male superstar right now than Braun Strowman.
True.
I mean, he's doing comedic work and doing it brilliantly. He's amazing in the ring. I mean, the T-Rex dropkick, as it's been dubbed, is that was amazing. I mean, he was throwing Kevin Owens, who's no small man, around like a rag doll at ringside. Shoulder barge in the ring, knock Sami Zayn down, out the ring, shoulder barge again, in the ring, knock him down one more time, and then T-Rex drop kick him. I can't do that on 2K18. How on earth is he doing it in real life?
Yeah. That's a good shout, actually.
I mean, Braun Strowman's my pick. Daniel Bryan, you mentioned, I could see him winning it as well for the same reason. I mean, in terms of popularity, he's the only one who holds the candle to Strowman at the moment. And I'd kind of like to see him go at it in the Rumble itself. Because you feel that at some point they'd cross paths.
Yeah.
But also
I think now you've said it, I feel like, Braun Strowman is probably going to be my pick. Because he hasn't had that moment yet. Even at WrestleMania, he was kind of relegated to winning the tag teams with Nicholas. Big up Nicholas, by the way.
Yeah.
He was kind of relegated to that. Yeah, so I think this could be his big moment.
So you're going with Strowman, but honourable mention for...
Now you've said it, I'm stealing your pick.
Okay, you can steal my pick on that one. This is a really hard one to call. Obviously, it'd be much
I
easier.
just assume that every man on the SmackDown roster and every man on the Raw roster is going to be in it because it's such a massive thing.
Well, apart from Zack Ryder, because Zack Ryder has not travelled, of course.
Yes.
He's injured his knee, I believe.
Yeah, I heard that.
So that's not so good. Right, that's all the matches accounted for. We've only got 2 differences of opinion throughout all the matches, but we'll see. We'll see, Jimmy. We'll see who's right and who's wrong on that one. I think. Yeah, you did. I think we've done all right there. I think we've done okay for this podcast. Thank you very much for joining me, Jimmy. You've done very well, and I'll definitely have you back at some point.
So right, thank you for having me.
No problem, Jim. It's great to have you. Right, so yeah, that was the Matt Attack prediction podcast for the greatest Royal Rumble in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. That was Jimmy Judgement. I'm Matt Willis. This is the Matt Attack. We're out of here. This week's Matt Attack was in memory of Aaron Gilbert. I miss you, Azza, and I love you. Thank you.